Dear children, this is episode 5 of the podcast Political Parties. In this episode, we shall study the suggestions to reform political parties. First, I will explain them in brief and then I will delineate the points in detail. Number 1. A law should be made to regulate the internal affairs of political parties. Number 2. It should be made mandatory for political parties to give a minimum number of tickets, about 1/3, to women candidates. Number 3. There should be state funding of elections. There are two other ways in which political parties can be reformed. 1. People can put pressure on political parties through petitions, publicity, and agitations. Ordinary citizens, pressure groups and movements, and the media can play important roles in this. 2. Political parties can improve if those who want this join political parties. The quality of democracy depends on the degree of public participation. It is difficult to reform politics if ordinary citizens do not take a part in it and simply criticize it from the outside. Now let me explain the points in detail. The first point was that a law should be made to regulate the internal affairs of political parties. It means that it should be made compulsory for a political party to maintain a register of its members, to follow its constitution, to have an independent authority, to act as a judge in case of party disputes, and to hold open discussions for elections to the highest posts. The second point was that it should be made mandatory for political parties to give a minimum number of seats, about 1/3, to women candidates. Similarly, there should be a quota for women in the decision-making bodies of the party. This will increase the role, independence, and dignity of women in the country. The third point was that there should be state funding of elections. The government should give parties money to support their election expenses. By this support, we mean that it can be given to the parties in kind, for example, petrol, paper, telephone, etc., or it could be given in cash on the basis of the votes secured by the party in the last election. Now, dear students, these suggestions have not yet been accepted by political parties. If and when they are accepted, they could lead to some improvement. But we have to be careful about legal solutions to political problems. Over-regulation of political parties can also result in counterproductivity. It may have negative impact as this would force all parties to find ways to cheat the law. Besides, political parties will not agree to pass a law that they do not like. In such cases, even the opposing political parties become one. There are two other ways in which political parties can be reformed. First is that people can put pressure on political parties through petitions, publicity, and agitations. If political parties feel that they would lose public support by not taking up reforms, they would become more serious about reforms. Secondly, political parties can improve if those who want to bring about this improvement join political parties. Then the problem of bad politics can be solved by more and better politics.